Now, you know how every year there's that one phone that everyone calls the quote unquote safe choice? You know, decent camera, solid battery, not exciting, just safe. Well, that's exactly what I thought that the Pixel 10 was going to be. The cheaper sibling to the Pro, the same software, a little less power, to save a few bucks. And I honestly didn't really expect much from it. But after living with it for a month, using it through every late night scroll, every video shoot, and every random call, I'm starting to think that this might actually be not only the smartest business choice, but also the smartest phone that Google has made in years. Feature-wise, it provides all of the new major software and AI updates that will leave you intrigued enough to justify owning the newest Pixel. Price-wise, it gives itself an immense gap from the 10 Pro and Pro XL to the point where you'll feel justified since it's still a great phone that doesn't kill your wallet, and you'll feel like you're not really missing much by skipping those Pro models. And experience-wise, as someone who has owned both the 10 and 10 Pro XL, I seriously can't tell you what I've done on my 10 Pro XL that I haven't done on my regular 10. And that's why I feel like the Pixel 10 is the perfect Pixel. It not only does almost everything that the Pixel 10 Pro can do without the Pro price tag, but it's mastered all of the elements that you want in a great Pixel phone: features, affordability, and great hardware. So this isn't just another good enough Pixel, it kind of feels complete. It feels like the phone that Google has been trying to build for many years now. So if you've been wondering whether or not to save your money and skip the Pro, you're going to want to see what I've discovered after a full month with the Pixel 10. Alright, now as much as I've been enjoying this phone, I do want to be real with you guys because no device is perfect, and the Pixel 10 is no different. Even a month in, I'm still running into some of those classic first couple of months Pixel bugs. Every once in a while, an app will just quit for no reason, or I'll be jumping between apps and suddenly get these little stutters that break the flow. It's not constant, but it's enough that I've noticed. Even the keyboard bugs are back. Sometimes the keyboard won't pop up when I tap on a text field, and this kind of sounds small, but when it happens mid-conversation, it can be frustrating. And honestly, performance-wise, this phone struggles the most when it comes to gaming. See, I've been testing it with Genshin Impact, and compared to other phones in its exact same price range, it just feels slow. Movements are a bit sluggish, attacks don't feel as smooth or responsive as they should, and the overall experience isn't as fluid as I've come to expect. And in my honest opinion, it's disappointing because at this price, pretty much every other phone that I've tried handles heavy-duty gaming effortlessly, but the Pixel 10 just doesn't. Then there's the camera, and this one hurts the most for me as a content creator. See, the quality itself is great, but the ISO behavior is all over the place. The lighting keeps shifting mid-shot like the camera can't make up its mind, which kind of ruins the consistency of the footage. And I wanted to use this phone as a backup camera for content, but those sudden exposure jumps make it really hard to trust it for anything serious. So yeah, even though I've been loving a lot about the Pixel 10, these are the things that are holding it back from truly being perfect. And for all my viewers, I think it's important to know them before you make a decision. Now moving on, the first thing that surprised me about the Pixel 10 wasn't the specs, it was just how right it feels in hand. At 204 grams, it has that reassuring density that you'd expect from a flagship, but the size isn't what really sells it. The 6.3-inch screen fits perfectly in my hand, big enough to feel immersive, but still small enough to where I can swipe through notifications or snap a photo in one hand without doing that awkward phone balancing act. And it's also built like a tank wrapped in something elegant. The satin finish aluminum frame gives it the cold to the touch, solid feel every time I pick it up, and it hasn't picked up a single nick, even after a few chaotic tosses in my bag. The front and back are both Gorilla Glass Victus 2, so it's handled life in my pockets with keys, coins, and way too much dust like a champ. No scratches, no chips, nothing so far. But I will say that the only thing that I don't love is the glossy back. It looks really good fresh out of the box, but it's a fingerprint magnet. I've caught myself wiping it down with my shirt or a microfiber cloth way more often than I like. For me, it's not really a deal breaker, but it is annoying. But yeah, if you're someone who likes a pristine looking phone, be ready to babysit this phone for a very long time. Also, here's a part that I think really matters. Despite being the quote-unquote base model, it feels like a pro phone. The design is almost indistinguishable from the Pixel 10 Pro. Same sleek camera bar, same clean symmetry, and that's something that you really don't get with other brands. Like the base iPhone and Galaxy always feel like a compromise as far as style, but this one doesn't. It's the first phone in a while that genuinely gives me that flagship vibe without the flagship price, and when I pull it out of my pocket in public, it doesn't feel like the cheaper version, it just feels premium. Now if I had to pick something else that really consistently impressed me with the Pixel 10, then it would be the display. And it's easily one of my favorite parts of this phone, and honestly, it feels like Google Google finally nailed it this year. At first glance, I figured that it'd be quote unquote good enough, 6.3 inches, full HD plus resolution, and the usual pixel look, but after a month, I've caught myself appreciating it constantly. It hits this sweet spot where it's big enough to feel immersive, yet compact, even though it doesn't feel like I'm holding a tablet. The bezels are razor thin, which makes the content feel like it's floating on top of the phone rather than being stuck behind a border. And as far as quality, it's ridiculous. Colors pop without looking cartoonish, and the brightness has been a lifesaver. Out in direct sunlight, whether I'm checking maps or walking my dog or trying to review B-roll on set, the screen cuts through glare without hesitation. It hits up to 3000 nits at its peak, which still blows my mind every time I crank it up outdoors. Scrolling through social media or switching between apps feels buttery smooth too. And I say compared to the 10 Pro, the 120Hz refresh rate feels exactly the same. One minor improvement that I would recommend Google to do is add an anti-reflective coating. It's not a deal breaker, but every now and then I catch reflections from overhead lights or the sun hitting the glass, and it pulls me out of the moment. But overall, it really has been a joy to use. Watching content on the screen, whether it's YouTube, movies, or just my own edits, genuinely feels cinematic for something this compact. And what started as just another Pixel screen has become one of the main reasons why I actually want to pick this phone up every single day. Now moving on, the performance is one of those areas where the Pixel 10 keeps surprising me, especially coming from previous Tensor phones, which always felt a bit hesitant. Day to day, the Tensor G5 has been holding up very well. Most of the time when it's not hitting those rare stutters, it feels fast, snappy, and just overall smooth. Apps open instantly, and I can bounce between tasks without that micro delay that the older Pixels were notorious for. And what really stands out is how well it handles all the AI stuff that I use constantly. I run AI features almost every single day, from having it help me blitz through my emails in the morning, to using it to brainstorm and even map out ways to improve my desk setup. Tasks that would have made older phones hesitate for a second now happen instantly. There's no waiting around for things to process, and it just does it in real time and keeps me moving. Android 16 also plays a pretty big part here. It feels polished, tighter than before. You know, little details like the faster gesture responses and smoother transitions make the whole experience feel more cohesive. Even the built-in photo editing software runs pretty fast. But of course, like older Pixels, there are those moments where the Tensor G5 shows its limits, like whenever I'm gaming, but outside of those heavier titles, this phone has been quick and reliable in almost everything that I've thrown at it. So in regular daily use, it honestly feels very flagship. It's not just numbers on a spec sheet, it's that moment where you're juggling 3 things at once and the phone just keeps up without thinking twice about it. Now moving on to the cameras, the Pixel 10 is packing a 48 megapixel main sensor, a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and a 10.8 megapixel telephoto, and honestly this setup makes it hard to believe that this is a quote-unquote base model. Over the past month, it's handled almost everything that I've thrown at it: indoors, outdoors, low light, bright sun, and it just works. Selfies are clean and color accurate without looking artificial, and they actually look like me. And for general shots, it holds its own against iPhone and Galaxy. Crisp detail, balanced exposure, and that signature pixel color science that makes photos pop without going overboard. Video has also been really good. Stabilization is rock steady, and the low light footage stays sharp without blowing out highlights. Again, the only issue that I've ran into is with the ISO when the lighting gets tricky. And like I said before, it's the only thing that's holding me back from using the Pixel 10 as a dedicated camera for content. Outside of that though, the video quality is solid and absolutely good enough for any other occasion. So overall, this camera system does its job extremely well. It's the first time I've used a non-Pro Pixel and felt like I wasn't missing out on anything. And in everyday use, it can easily compete with iPhone. Now moving on to battery life, it has honestly been one of the most quiet surprises with the Pixel 10, not just because it's mind-blowing, but because it's been very reliable. See, I usually wake up around 9 a.m. and from that moment on, this phone is constantly in and out of my hand until about 10 p.m. On an average day, I'm answering emails and checking in with sponsors, hitting the gym with music streaming the entire time, using ChatGPT to help me plan or organize whatever I've got going on. And when I get bored, you know, I sneak in a few games, and in between all that, I'm on social media posting and tweeting. So I'd like to say that I get a pretty heavy mix of use. And yet, by the time I wrap up for the night, I usually still have about 5% battery left, and that's without any kind of power saving mode. So overall, I'd like to say that the Pixel 10 is dependable. I'm not constantly hunting for outlets midday or stressing about battery anxiety, which is honestly rare for a phone around this price range. Charging has also been very solid. With a 30-watt charging charger, I can get it from almost dead to around 80% in about 30 minutes, which is perfect for a quick top up. Honestly, you guys, I really haven't been wirelessly charging that much, but what I do use G2 for is carrying my wallets, and also if I need to put a nice little battery pack on my phone. Heat hasn't really been an issue so far, even during long charging sessions or when I leave it plugged in overnight, it stays cool. And Google's adaptive charging slows it down towards 100%, so it's not roasting the battery while I sleep. So I would say all around, it's not the biggest battery on paper, but in real life, it's been more than enough to keep up with my chaotic days without needing to baby it. So before I end this video, one thing that I wanted to do was compare the price to the Pixel 10 Pro. Now, this is where the 10 makes the most sense. See, the Pro model is a few $100s, which is more expensive, and yet in day-to-day use, it doesn't really feel like you're missing much by going with the base model. Spec-wise, you're still getting the same Tensor G5 chip, the same smooth Android 16 experience, and a camera system that's so close in quality that it's honestly hard to tell the difference unless you're pixel peeping side by side. Even things like build and design are nearly identical this year, which is a huge deal because with the iPhone or Galaxy, the base models always feel like a clear step down, but with the Pixel, it doesn't. And the only real difference I felt is the size between the 10 Pro XL and the regular 10. It has a bigger display, which some people prefer, but for me, the Pixel 10 size has actually been perfect. It's easier to handle one-handed, and it doesn't feel like I'm lugging around a tablet in my pocket. So if I'm being honest, I don't feel like I've lost anything major ever since switching over to the Pro, except the bigger screen. And I feel like for you guys, saving $300 to $400 for the trade-off, that's an easy decision. So after living with it for a full month, here's where I've landed. The Pixel 10 is the perfect phone for anyone who wants a top-tier Pixel experience without spending top-tier money. It's got the design, the performance, the cameras, the display, you know, all the pro-level experience, just wrapped into a size that's similar to the Pro. And unless you absolutely need a slightly bigger screen, then there's no reason to spend an extra $300 to $400. This is the first quote-unquote base Pixel that I can recommend without zero hesitation. So if you want the full Pixel experience without the Pro price, then the Pixel 10 is where it's at. Now, before I end the video, I would like to introduce you guys to my partners, Arzopa. Now, I've been using the Arzopa Z1 FC Gray portable gaming monitor for a while now, and I'm absolutely blown away by its performance. It has a nice 16.1-inch screen, and I get the perfect viewing area for my gaming sessions without sacrificing portability. The 16:9 aspect ratio and full HD resolution at 1080p provides crystal clear visuals that make every game look stunning, and I can see all the fine details that really make modern games look really good. And another thing that impresses me is the color reproduction. With 16.7 million colors and a color temperature at 6800 Kelvin, the display produces balanced, natural looking images that don't strain my eyes during long gaming sessions. The brightness on this monitor is exceptional. Even in well lit rooms, I can see everything perfectly without any glare or washout effects. And colors on the Arzopa Z1 FC are so vibrant that games and videos pop off the screen, making my gaming experience truly immersive regardless of what I'm playing. Connectivity is a breeze with the mini HD and Type-C full function ports. I can hook up practically any device and be gaming in seconds. Plus the two Type-Cs and the HDMI port work effortlessly, and I had no problems with connectivity or power. I was also surprised by how good the built-in speakers sound for their size. They provide pretty clear audio that's perfectly adequate for gaming on the go. The 144Hz refresh rate is a game changer for me. The buttery smooth gameplay gives me a competitive edge in fast-paced games where every millisecond counted, and I can easily throw this monitor in my bag and take my gaming setup anywhere without feeling weighed down. It also comes with a really nice case that is sleek, very premium, and gives me the feeling that it's really protecting my monitor from any drops or scuffs. The ultra slim 9.3mm profile means that I can slide this monitor into even the slimmest laptop bag compartments with room to spare. Dark scenes have deep blacks, while bright areas really shine without losing detail. The anti-glare coating has been a lifesaver when coming in bright rooms or near windows, and I never experienced any annoying reflections ruining my view. The slim bezel design maximizes screen space while keeping the overall footprint compact, and it just looks sleek and modern. And what really sells this monitor for me is its incredible versatility, and even my phone with perfect compatibility every time. So for serious gamers who need a portable solution, I can't recommend the Arzopa Z1 FC enough. It's transformed how and where I want to game without compromising on quality. This monitor has become an essential part of my gaming setup that I can't imagine being without. And if you are interested in the Arzopa Z1 FC, click the link in the description and comment section of today's video.